My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I could teach you, but I have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
I want to say 30 to 35 hours.
I usually work about 20 to 25 hours a week off the well. I work like 30 hours a week.
Depends on the week, anywhere from 25 to 35. I'm part-time, so no more than that.
When I can, probably like 1 to 2 hours.
Every day I spend about 2 hours. Probably like 3 or 2 hours. I usually like stay up late.
If I had to guess, probably around 2. I'd get home around 10 o'clock, stay up till midnight doing homework, to wake up the next morning.
I probably spend like 3 to 4 a day, so over 20, between 20 and 30 probably. So, a
And
lot.
how many AP classes are you in?
I'm in, well, 5, but one's a split class, so I took AP Physics, AP Calculus, AP English, and then AP Microeconomics and AP Government. Yeah.
Not much. I get like probably 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I like never get a chance to. Yeah, I've fallen asleep in a couple of classes before. I usually like, I'm really tired and don't feel like I have one to be there. I'd rather sleep.
Honestly, like it's kind of like the opposite way. Like I can't function at school, so sometimes like I wake up late or I don't show up at all because I'm really tired.
I've like fallen asleep in class a lot. Yes, I am in dance. For dance, I have practice twice a week, and those 2 days I have it for 2 hours. So that's also a little bit time consuming. Plus, there's like extra practices here and there and competitions and whatnot.
Season just ended for track, and I played football too.
I played 2 sports. I played high school water polo and high school swim, and I was on the varsity levels for both, so I probably spent about 3 hours practicing a day for both of those. So I would practice and then go home and do homework basically. And that involves like tournaments and meets, which are weekend commitments. And then I also play club water polo like during the fall off seasons.
Yeah, I have 3 classes. I mean, that's not really a lot, but they still give a lot of homework, which makes me stressed, and we have a lot of projects to do, and like having to go to school, but also ROP and do work, like it's just pretty stressful.
Definitely, especially like around AP testing time, because I was studying while doing assignments while going to practices, so it's kind of like it doesn't seem like there's enough hours in the day, you know? But yeah, it got really stressful, but now I'm not doing anything, but for the past like 3 years it's been really hard, but it's worth it.
Stressed?
Yeah, I think I do. You know, I've been teaching now for 20 years, 2 decades, and you know, we talk about this in psychology that students today just seem so much more stressed out with the workload that they're carrying. Most students are working 20 to 30 hours a week, they're trying to complete all their homework assignments and trying to help around the house, and then holding a social life outside. I think all those hours just add up to a lot of stress on teenagers.
How much homework do you personally assign to your students?
I personally try to keep the homework to a minimum. I have 3 kids of my own, and I know that when teachers dump a lot of homework on kids, it really adds to the stress level. So I try to keep a pretty good balance of a little bit here. When I do assign homework, I make sure that kids have fair notice, they have plenty of time to compete it.
As a parent, have you noticed with your own children have been overwhelmed with schoolwork and other responsibilities?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a 15-year-old sophomore, I have an 8th grade daughter, and then I have a son who's in 6th grade. And sometimes I'm just absolutely floored at how much homework they're given. They are sometimes working on homework for 3 to 4 hours a night. And they're conscientious kids, they try real hard, but sometimes I have to actually shut it down and just tell them that enough is enough. I think today's kid isn't, in order to do extracurricular activities outside of school, they're usually structured activities which require a lot of time. Kids don't go outside riding their bikes and playing, hopscotch in the street anymore, and so when you couple those organized, structured activities like dance or soccer or water polo or whatever, you just don't have enough time to work on homework 3 to 4 or 5 hours a night.
Statistics have proven that students today are more stressed than they've ever been before. Do you have any opinions on why that might be?
Yeah, like I said in the first question, I think the amount of homework, I think kids having to work jobs today to help subsidize the expensive life habits that we have. I think it's common now that both parents are out of the house working, and so kids have to fend for themselves a little bit more. And the stresses of trying to get into a competitive college, keeping up with peer pressure. I think there's a lot of elements that add to that, and I agree with the statistics.
Do you think your students seem stressed or overwhelmed?
Some of them, yeah. There's a lot of demands on them with, like we were just saying, work, getting into college, who knows what's going on at home, what their chores are and obligations and that kind of thing.
As a parent, have you noticed your kids seem like overwhelmed with all their schoolwork and responsibilities?
Yes, I definitely do. Sometimes I think it takes the joy out of learning. That's the bummer about it. It becomes a chore. It's not this passionate, excitement to learn something new.
Do you think students are more stressed out than they were when you were in school?
Definitely, yeah. I see a huge difference. Well, I do think technology has something to do with that. You guys have instant gratification, instant information. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have cell phones, and there's a freedom to that. It's just you're outside, you're not being tagged by someone all the time, and if someone needs to get a hold of you, they can wait till you get home. And I think that adds to the stress because you guys are always like multitasking and all this stuff going on. So.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke.